What the did I just watch? Hey everybody, this is Nick from Threat X3 Productions. I'm here to do a review on In the Tall Grass. It's a film that's on Netflix. In the Tall Grass is a 2019 Canadian supernatural horror drama, and it was written and directed by Vincenzo Natali, starring Patrick Wilson, or Owlman. It is based on a Stephen King and Joe Hill novella by the same name. The film had its world premiere at the Fantastic Fest in September 20th, 2019, and later released on October 4th by Netflix. So first off, just for anybody out there who's curious, what's a novella? Because there's actually been a couple of novellas of Stephen King's turned into movies, and so I looked it up. And apparently the difference between a novel and a novella is pretty much a fancy way of saying that it's not a short story, but it's also not long enough to be a novel. Because I guess novel would be something more like a Harry Potter where it's 300 page long, whereas a novella would be much shorter, which actually I would feel like novellas would actually be perfect to turn into movies because they're already shorter. When you get a big novel and you're trying to turn this into a movie, you have to cut things, you have to switch things. This might be the best of both worlds. Now, I have not originally read the novella by Stephen King and Joe Hill, so I don't know if it's awesome compared to it, anything like that. But yeah, so I'm just coming in here fresh. Just happen to be a fan of Stephen King adapted movies, and so In the Tall Grass, very interesting. Very, very interesting. I don't know what to say about it without giving too much away. There's a good amount kind of right in the middle, or not right in the middle, kind of in the first act that's kind of setting up the mystery of the grass and just the rules of, being stuck in the grass and everything. And it's super interesting, super trippy, and it's just kind of really a neat thing. Honestly, I feel like there's definitely some artsy fartsy things that we could have done away with. It was about an hour and 40 minutes long. I feel like they could have cut it down to an hour and a half, still made it feature length, but cut out a little bit of trim here and there, and it would have been, just as good. So I don't feel like, that's necessarily a point against it, but still just something that I kind of noticed. So I can't say too much about it because, if anything, if you've not even seen a trailer about this, I feel like it would be even better to go in completely blind and not know what you're seeing, because it's just such an interesting movie. And I definitely feel like if there's not already, there's going to be tons of theories, and there's going to be, people breaking down this and that or whatever. I actually can't wait to get done recording this and go look those up, because sometimes those can be the most fun thing about a real interesting movie like this. But let me give you just the gist of everything. Basically, there's this huge field of grass. There's a sister and brother. They're driving on the way to San Diego, and they hear a little boy. So they go in to investigate. The little boy apparently has been stuck there for days because he can't find his way out. The brother and sister go in, and things just go really awry. There's this scene right in the beginning where they're trying to find each other, and it's clearly something's weird is going on. I don't even want to give away too much because it's just so interesting how they kind of play with you. And the first time that you really realize, okay, something's really weird about this is an audio cue, and it's all of a sudden there's a sound right next to him where it's before it was just a little bit further away. So then you start realizing something's going on here. And so then there's obviously some creepy stuff because obviously this is really like tall grass or whatever. And, it's Stephen King, obviously. So, you're expecting creepiness. And I feel like the best thing that In the Tall Grass really did is set up a really good atmosphere because obviously, this is something hard to do when like most of what you're looking at is just a bunch of long ass grass. Like that's something hard to do, but it did a really good job of like almost making the grass like a character itself. And then the second thing that this movie did really well is set up characters. And, while maybe some of it was like a little bit ham-fisted and be like, hey, Frank is my name and real estate's my game. It's like, oh my God, like nobody talks like that. And it was like so exposition-y that it was just like, okay, yeah, I get it. You're a real estate guy, but did we really need to know that about you like within the first 3 seconds of meeting you? Not really. So, but other than that, like everybody had a really good performance. The mystery of everything was really interesting. Just the trippiness of it was also really cool. If you like movies that are really trippy and that just have a really interesting premise, you would really like this movie. However, on the other hand, if being confused or like not knowing what's going on can frustrate you and it can make you not enjoy something, whether it be a game, a book, something like that, I could definitely see why you're not going to necessarily like this movie. Because it is very confusing. There's a lot going on and there's a lot of really trippy stuff. And this is the only spoiler I'm going to say, so skip forward 10 seconds. It doesn't explain anything. There's the spoiler. It's done. Like, it was a very small one, but, if you happen to listen to it, it's just, So, yeah, I mean... It's hard to talk about. Like I said, I don't want to give too much away. This is definitely an experience that I feel like if you want to watch it, it's really good. What you're in store for is a very intriguing movie, wonderfully acted, very good cinematography, even though most of the cinematography is aimed at grass. There are a couple of shots that maybe it's like super obvious that, okay, we're not looking at grass, we're looking at CG because it's like going through the grass. And I wish they would have maybe found interesting ways of doing it practically, but at the same time, like I get that, maybe on a small budget they didn't really have the time or effort to do that. So, whatever. I'm not gonna pull any hairs on that. But it's definitely something I think that's worth watching. And I mean, plus it's on Netflix. If you already have Netflix and maybe you've just kind of gone by it a couple of times, honestly, I feel like it's a good movie. I feel like if I would have seen this on maybe a budget night, I wouldn't have want to seen this like when it first came out. But if I went and it was like a $1 Tuesday at one of my local movie theaters and I spent $1 on this, that wouldn't have been so bad, and I mean, especially since it is streaming, it's definitely something nice to check out. So, I mean, that's really all I have to say about it. Once again, I didn't want to get too far into it. So, yeah, go check it out. Why the heck not? But yeah, definitely keep in mind that it's very confusing, that it's very kind of just out there, but that's also, in my opinion, just makes it really cool. So hey, let me know down in the comments below if you've seen it. What did you think about it? What'd you like about it, hate about it, everything? Let's have a conversation down in those comments. Once again, I was Nick for Threat X3 Productions, and you have yourself a good one.